Hello everyone, what is up? It is me, AlbyMTG. For today's video, we're going to be using Cardsphere's Draft Simulator to run through a Ravnica Allegiance draft, do a little preparation for the release drafts that'll be happening during Friday Night Magic events tomorrow night. I'll be playing in mine tomorrow night. I've already done a couple of MTG Arena drafts for Ravnica Allegiance, but it's not quite the same as an in-person draft. So we're going to go ahead and just run through this quick simulator here. This will be a little bit more reminiscent, I guess, of an arena draft since you're drafting with bots, but the bots here on Cardsphere are pretty solid. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get into this. I don't know whether we're going to do one or two drafts. Kind of depends on whether or not the choices we have are, hard to choose from or not. So this is a pretty solid little pack here. Yeah, I totally agree with these rankings. So it's definitely between the Grotesque Demise, the Consume or the Consecrate Consume, and then the Prime Speaker Vanifar. I haven't gotten a chance to play Prime Speaker Vanifar yet, so most likely I would just end up choosing something like this. Plus, you can never really go wrong with if we go ahead and take a look at Cardsphere here, we can actually check the value of Prime Speaker Vanifar. Prime Speaker Vanifar. So it is hard to say no to. About, it's $13. You can probably sell it off for 10 pretty easily. So hard to say no to $10 to get your draft started. If you're doing this in paper, even if you're doing it on Arena, you can never really go wrong with picking up a Mythic so that you don't have to use a Mythic wildcard on it. It's possible that Consecrate Consume might be better, but we're going to go ahead and give Prime Speaker Vanifar a try here. Next up, we're looking at Mortify. Mortify is a fantastic card, but doesn't really go too well with our blue-green first pick, but it is just like a very solid card. We could go with the Skatewing Spy, which again is another 4-drop to get us started, so it's a little bit expensive in terms of our curve, but it's a pretty powerful card, 2/3 with the Adapt 2, and then each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying. Scorch Mark, solid removal spell. Nothing else that we really want too much here. So I think the pick is definitely between Mortify and Skatewing Spy. I think I'm going to go with This is actually a pretty interesting pick. I think I'm going to go with the Mortify here and then see if maybe, see what colors are more open, whether Simic ends up more open or Orzhov ends up more open. We have a pretty solid card for both, and we can go ahead and take a look at what's happening here in each of these. So we've got some solid cards here from both. These rankings here are a little bit skewed now because actually we can probably turn off if we go not sort by rating, and then view, turn off ratings. So now we could really end up going either way. Again, these ratings were skewed because of it's leaning more towards the Mortify than the Prime Speaker Vanifar from our first pick. Clear the Stage is just a solid removal spell that we can end up picking up. Or again, we could go with something like a Rampaging Rendhorn. We could get a second chance at a Skatewing Spy or a Biogenic Upgrade here. I think I'm going to personally lean more towards the removal, so I'm going to go ahead and take this Clear the Stage and see what we can pick up from there. We're looking at Scorchmark, Amplifier, okay. Rhythm of the Wild is in here. That's a solid card from Gruul. I kind of like Scorchmark here as the pick. Scorchmark is the kind of card that we could splash if we need to, and could end up going in Rakdos, and then we could splash the Mortify possibly. So I don't mind picking up a Scorchmark here. I feel like in paper, Rhythm of the Wild might not actually make it this far. I feel like Rhythm of the Wild is one of those cards that people are just going to snap up because it's a pretty fun one to play with. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the Scorchmark here, again, just going with more removal. This one I think is pretty easy. Best card in the pack by far is the Grasping Thrall. There's some other like playable cards here, but nothing really compares to the Grasping Thrall in this pack, so we're going to go ahead and pick up Grasping Thrall. Here again, it looks like probably something just like the Debtor's Transport is fine. Night of the Last Breath could also be, a fine one. Afterlife 3, it's a 7-drop though. Could kind of go either way. I think this one's more just a personal preference thing, Night of the Last Breath versus Debtor's Transport. I don't mind running like one 7-drop in my draft decks, I guess. So we could just pick up the Night of the Last Breath here. I think that's what I'm going to end up going with. Now we're looking at Bring to Trial, Hazda Officer, Gateway Plaza, Rakdos Guildgate, and then some fine green cards, but nothing too crazy. So I'm leaning more towards just picking up a Gateway Plaza here. Allows us to go multicolor if we wanted to go multicolor. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Gateway Plaza. If we manage to pick up a couple more Gateway Plazas and maybe some, Guild Gates too, it is possible still that we could go for like a multicolored build. Hybrid is a card that I'm a pretty big fan of. I don't know whether it's worth it or not to pick that up. We could also just go with a Guild Gate for the potential, splashes that we might be doing later on. Could also just make a safer pick here, go with a Pegasus, go with a Hazda Officer, something like that. I think I don't mind just grabbing a Pegasus here, going with kind of the unexciting pick, but kind of a necessary one. Gotta get those 2-drops. So here it's looking like Orzhov does appear to be a little bit open. We're receiving a lot of good Orzhov cards back. So here it's just a matter of what Orzhov card we want. We could go between the Vizkopa Vampire and the Spire Mangler. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Spire Mangler, especially because we just picked up that Pegasus too, so when it enters the battlefield, target creature with flying you control gets +2/+0. Works out pretty well with the Pegasus that we just picked up, so we'll grab that. Again, we could go with a little flyer here. We could go with the 10th District Veteran. I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the Guild Gate. Guild Gates are always a fine pickup. That's a kind of late Rendhorn. That card's pretty solid. Also the Crocodile here. I don't think any of these cards make our deck, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the... I guess we could just pick up... Actually, if we end up 3-color Roostabout might make our deck, because we do have the Scorch Mark still. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the Roostabout there. We can pick up a Trumpeteer here, again, for potentially going 3-color. None of these cards, I think, would make our deck, so we pick up the Guild Gate, which is a solid pickup. Rafter Demon, I guess, is fine, and then a Goblin Gathering. This is a really solid card. I like seeing Imperious Oligarch here. Rixmatty Reveler, though, might be a 2-drop that beats it. Nothing else too crazy here. Yeah, so I think I'm leaning more towards the Rixmatty Reveler over the Imperious Oligarch. Both of those are really solid little pickups, but this one, if we end up going the full Mardu, then we can go ahead and play this Rixmatty Reveler. Imperious Oligarch would be kind of ensuring that our red is just going to end up being a splash. I think I'm cool with just playing full Mardu. We already picked up like some decent fixing, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab a Rixmatty Reveler and possibly lean in some more towards picking up Rakdos Guild Gates if we can find any. Here, this is like a solid teamer pack with cards like Frenzied Erranx, Frilled Mystic, Rubble Belt Runner. Nothing really for us in this pack, unfortunately. Best card for us is probably just like this Gore Clan Wrecker, so I guess we're picking up the Gore Clan Wrecker, but we're not overly happy about it. We could also pick up the Archway Angel, I guess, and then we can really emphasize the gates. I guess that's a fine choice too. We'll go ahead and pick up that, and then just hope to pick up some gates. So here we have the opportunity to go with a solid removal spell versus the Orzhov Guild Gate. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the removal spell here in final payment. Blade Juggler is a card that I really like, so that's most likely going to be the pick here. Nothing else really too crazy. Like, the Recluse is a fine, aggressive card. Since we're playing Mardu, Twilight Panther could be a fine 1-drop, but I really like the Blade Juggler. These black creatures that come into play and then allow us to draw cards, definitely, fantastic. Cards like Phyrexian Ravager, whatever that card is, the 3-mana 2/2 that has the same text on it. One of my favorite cards, so I'm going to go ahead and just pick up a Blade Juggler here pretty easily. Here, again, nothing too crazy. We could pick up our second Goblin Gathering. I don't think that's where I want to be, though. I think I would rather just pick up something like the Storm Strike here. Just a small little combat trick. Nothing too crazy. Might not even end up making our deck. That's another late Rhythm of the Wild. Again, we could go with something like Prowling Caracal. I think this is between Ill-Gotten Inheritance and Prowling Caracal. This is a very late Sharkdo Crab as well. So pretty late here in like the teamer colors. Honestly, if we're drafting in paper, I probably don't want to play against Sharkdo Crab, and I'm probably just picking the Sharkdo Crab. It's between Ill-Gotten Inheritance and Sharkdo Crab. In draft, 4-drops that don't impact the board, I think, are a little bit worse. And Sharkdo Crab definitely impacts the board. I forget what other 4-drops we have. Ill-Gotten Inheritance might be a fine 4-drop for us to pick up, but I think I'm just going to hate draft Sharkdo Crab. After this, we're probably grabbing this Burning Tree Vandal. It's just a pretty solid card here. We also haven't seen any Rakdos Guild Gates yet. Right on time, fantastic. This is the kind of rare that I'm not really interested in, so it's easily between Rakdos Guildgate and Rebel Recluse, and I think Rakdos Guildgate's just a pretty solid choice. Again, nothing here that really makes our deck. We could pick up pretty much anything here. I don't think any of these cards make our deck. Again, we'll take the one black card from the pack to kind of show that black isn't open. Here, again, nothing really in this one, so we'll grab a Guildgate. Grab another Guildgate, fantastic. Debtor's Transport, I guess, is probably fine. Yeah, we'll pick up the Debtor's Transport. Grab yet another guild gate, yet another guild gate. Honestly, we might have enough guild gates now to play like Vanifar and just play like the 5-color guild gate stack. Ooh, Domri. Now I kind of want to just play the 5-color gate stack. Like, we have Prime Speaker Vanifar, we have Domri, we could just play the 5-color gate stack. I'm kind of down to just play the 5-color gate stack. Let's pick up Domri. We have an Azorius guild gate there. It's between that and Grasping Thrall. I guess we already have one Grasping Thrall, but the card is pretty solid. It's between Grasping Thrall and Guildgate here. I don't think Clan Guildmage is what we want, although our 2-drops are kind of lacking a little bit. I think that since the first one went late, it's likely that the second one will go late again here, and we're just going to go ahead and pick up the Guildgate. And we picked up Gates Ablaze, which is fantastic. We just basically pivoted into the 5-color Gates deck and got rewarded for it, so we'll grab a Gates Ablaze. Gateway Plaza is exactly what we want to see, so we'll grab a Gateway Plaza. Other options here would be Get the Point or Imperious Oligarch. We'll grab Gateway Plaza. Rakdos Guildgate versus some removal spells. Actually, I think the Orzhov Enforcer is just a very solid pickup at the 2-drop slot, so I think I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. Here we have some solid... Oh, we have a second Gates Ablaze? Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. Gates Ablaze easily. Gatebreaker Ram versus Orzhov Guildgate, Orzhov Enforcer, and Imperious Oligarch. This would have been a fantastic pack here as well. It's got to be the Ram. It just has to be. Very, very solid uncommons here. Fantastic, fantastic 2-drop, but this is going to be like a 3-mana 8/8, so we can't really pass that up. This is the kind of card that we can play here as well. We don't really mind too much the Repudiate side. Replicate, though, could be fine. Carnival Carnage could also be a decent pickup here. Yeah, this is kind of an interesting choice. Which one is better between Repudiate, Replicate, and Carnival Carnage? This one's a little bit more relevant in Draft. This one slightly more relevant for Constructed. So I think that since we're drafting, we'll go ahead and pick up the Carnival Carnage. Nothing too crazy here. I guess we'll just pick up maybe one of these. Or I guess this is both mana fixing and potential ramp, so we could pick up a Ceruli Caretaker. I guess that's fine. We'll go ahead and grab that. Sylvan Brushstrider, probably fine. Just gain us a little bit of life here. Seems alright. Again, we could go Brushstrider, we could go Twilight Panther. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Panther. Roostabout, we can go ahead and pick up here. Pick up another Rakdos Guildgate, beautiful. Debtor's Transport versus Trumpeteer. I think we have enough 2-drops now that we can pick up the Transport and then pick up Catacomb Crocodile, and so we can go ahead and put together our deck now. We probably won't get to, what's the time we're looking at? Yeah, we probably won't get to a second draft, but now we have a pretty sweet little build that we get to put together now. I always like to take a look at these other bots as well, so we'll go ahead and take a look at Ben's bot. Ben ended up in Azorius. Again, pretty solid little Azorius deck there. Angel of Grace, Deputy of Detention, pretty sweet. Ethan looks like Simic. Yeah, pretty solid Simic deck there. He did have Dovinbon, but ended up going more for Simic, which is totally understandable when you've got a card like Hydroid Krasis. Jeff looks like he's playing some Gruul. Can't really go wrong with Gruul, especially with some of these cards that he picked up here. Double Rhythm of the Wild seems pretty strong. Only one Frenzied Airynx, but double Trollbred Guardian plus Sunder Shaman seems pretty alright. John ended up going with the Orzhov, it looks like, so he was who we were fighting over some Orzhov cards with. Wish we could have picked up that other Angel. Looks like some solid pickups there. Looks like we're missing some of the card images to come up. This looks like I'm not really sure what this is. This is so Mass Manipulation and Benthic Biomancer are both blue cards. This looks like maybe Esper. I would guess. Maybe just blue white. Maybe you're not. Yeah, I guess you're not splashing the Thrall. Maybe this is just supposed to be blue white, but a pretty mediocre blue white list at that. Pixie ended up in what again looks to be Azorius. Yeah, not too bad. Picked up a Skargan Hellkite, but it looks like didn't get the opportunity to play that. And then we got my bot. I went with not too bad. I opened up Judith, had double Rakdos Firewheeler. Okay, I like this. Played some solid Rakdos. Yeah, this very much looks like the kind of deck that I would draft. That's too many crocodiles for me, but aside from that, this looks like the kind of deck that I wouldn't mind too much. Yeah, seems pretty solid. All right, now we get to put together this pile of garbage. So we'll start by cutting like the really bad cards. So crocodiles have no chance at making our deck. The Goblin Gathering, no chance at making our deck. If we're playing any number of Debtor's Transport, it's only going to be one. Gift of Strength probably doesn't make our deck either. How many gates did we end up with? We ended up with 4, 8, 13, it looks like. No, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 gates. So about half, or a little over half of our mana base is going to be gates, which seems pretty strong. So, we have to make how many more cuts? We had 11 gates, so 11 is 29. We have 7 cuts to make. No, we have a little bit more than 7 cuts. So Domri, all of these cards just seem like fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't really take a look at my mana curve. I guess we could sort by. Can I sort by rarity, color, pick order? Can't really sort by converted mana cost. I guess we'll just start by rarity. So we're playing all of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I think Rafter Demon's probably pretty unexciting. Maybe the Ceruli Caretaker might be a little unexciting. Yeah, I guess the Caretaker's not really doing too much here for us. We have 1 6-drop, 1 5-drop, 2 6-drops, 3. Okay. We do want to kind of maximize our creatures. That way we can play the Prime Speaker Vannifar. This is where things get pretty interesting. We don't have too many Spectacle cards, so I'm going to cut one of these. All of our cards seem fairly easy to cast. Nothing with doubles in the mana cost, which is nice. I guess we can get rid of the combat trick. We don't really need a combat trick. Then we're looking at 2 more cuts, I believe. 2 more cuts. This card's pretty unimpressive, but since we're playing the Gates deck, sometimes you just need a little extra life gain to make sure that you can, stay alive and actually get to, play Magic. So I kind of like having that. I guess we're not really a Burning Tree Vandal deck. This card's pretty aggressive. We're not trying to be overly aggressive, so I guess we can cut one of those. And how many non-creatures do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 non-creatures. That's fine. We could probably cut 1 if we had to. Maybe... How many creatures with power 4 or greater do we have? We have 1, 2... We have 2, 3, I guess. We probably still want clear... Oh, the Gatebreaker Ram is always going to have more than 4 power too. So, yeah, I guess we keep those. One last cut. I don't really know what to go with this last cut. It might just be like the Spire Mangler. In terms of other flyers, we have 1, 2... we have 3 and then the Afterlife cards too. Maybe it's this Rakdos Trumpetier, actually. What other 2-drops do we have? This would give us 2... 3, 4 2-drops. It's pretty low, but could be fine. Yeah, we'll cut the Trumpetier. This leaves us with 23 cards, 11 Guild Gates, and then we get 6 additional basics to add in. 1, 2... Okay, so 2 Simic, 2 Rakdos, 2 Orzhov, 2 Groll, 2 Gateway Plaza, and an Azorius. So I'm thinking some additional red sources, like maybe 1 or 2 mountains. Yeah, 1 or 2 mountains to add in, and then 1 or 2 mountains, maybe 1... We could just go with the full 5, actually. Yeah, so we'll put in 1 of everything, and then 1 of everything, and then 1... 1 of everything, and then 1 additional mountain. 4 gates. Yeah, okay, so 1 of each basic, 1 additional mountain. Actually, 1 additional plains. There we go. Final answer. 1 of each basic, except for plains, which we would play 2 plains. And that would be our 5-color Gates deck that we put together. We've got some powerful cards in it. We have Prime Seeker, Vannifar, Domri, and we can really pump out these bigger creatures, which I think is pretty nice. We have some pretty powerful spells in here, and then this Arcway Angel is going to gain us a ton of life, and this Gatebreaker Ram is going to be an 1,000,000 power creature, and then Gates Ablaze is just going to clear out whatever creatures our opponents control, with the possibility of wiping the board for 11 damage to each creature, which seems super, super strong. So this is the list that I would play for this video. This is the kind of list that I would love to play at FNM2. I really like these multicolored decks that are focused around drafting the Guild Gates. I think they're a lot of fun. So yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. Hopefully it was informative, walking you guys through the picks and then walking you guys through how I put together my deck here. If you guys want to practice your own drafts here, Cardsphere's Draft Simulator, absolutely fantastic. And I'm not just saying that because they're a sponsor. I do really like their draft simulator. And also you guys can come up here and check out my my bot as well. Make sure that I'm drafting some reasonable decks here with as a bot during your drafts. So yeah, with that being said, hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys here next time, and thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for watching today's video where we did a practice draft using Cardsphere's Draft Simulator for Ravnica Allegiance. At the end of all of my videos, I'd love to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons over on the Patreon page. So huge shout out to Jeremy, Rodrigo, Jason, Daniel, BadWolfMTG, DownUnderMTG, and Jayati Swaran for supporting me on the Patreon page this month. Definitely means a lot, and I'll see you guys here next time.